Okay, welcome everybody. It's time for the Monday webinar. I'm excited to talk to you guys about several things that we're looking at. I'm excited to talk, kind of re-demonstrate a little bit more about the indicator, how that's working, and some of the things that's doing for us, and everything else. So let's get right into it. We're right at the beginning of the week. There's some great setups coming this week. There's lots of good stuff to talk about. So I hope you guys are ready. And again, if there's any weird noises, I have windows open and fans on. Whether you agree or disagree with global warming, California is a model citizen for it currently. Global warming is hitting hard here. It's a hot summer, and so we're just cooking. We're just cooking. Donovan, you would be very happy to know that both dollar yen and New Zealand dollar are on a short list of favorite setups for this week. So, yeah, absolutely. Good call. Okay, let's get started, guys. First things first here, make sure you go to daytradersfx.com, click on this Start Now button, and come to get a free trial with us. Here's the exact direct link there. That'll get you started. Oh, come on. There we go. So that'll get you started. You can get annual memberships. You can get lower memberships, upper memberships, and so on. The main reason I want you to come to the site and get a free trial is because I want your money. I'll be dead honest about that. I really want all of your guys' money. But in exchange, I will promise you a lot more back than you give me. So I think that's a fair trade-off. Don't you guys think so? So that's the goal there. Next, there will be some slight changes announced in the trading group versus the on the website access. So we're definitely not taking anything away from the website access. In fact, we might add a few little details, but we're definitely going to add more details to the actual trading group. So I hope you guys are ready for that. There's some exciting things we're going to be doing, all in the spirit of making more money, having more fun, and trying not to be reckless in the process. So that will be talked about this week inside of the live trading group. I'll send out emails and details about that. Okay, on to the details here. We have a bunch of news this week, but we don't have any super major huge news except for the Scottish vote, the independence vote, which is coming Thursday. Yikes. So everything else, I mean, we have a little bit of, we have the FOMC press conference this week, which is always a decent mover. We've got some UK and Euro news and so on kind of coming throughout, but definitely the FOMC press conference will be interesting. The Scottish vote is going to be interesting. Those are kind of our two big things to watch for this week, so I'm looking forward to that. Next thing is, let me just make sure of this. I hope everybody has had a chance to download the indicator, or free indicator. You get to see my pretty face here, which you might not want to watch with a full stomach. Just kidding. It is a free indicator. You can just download it. Just go right to that link there. It's actually j.mp/DTFX, DayTradersFX, DTFX free. There's the long link. I've pasted it in the chat. So you can download the free indicator there. There will be a webinar this week at some point. I'll send out the email probably tonight or tomorrow early, later in the week, about kind of how the indicator works and some of the details there and a little bit more on that. So that'll be coming to everybody that downloads it. Your name has been saved to a list, and you will get an email if you downloaded the indicator, and we'll talk more about how this works and so on. And yes, good advice, Mel. Definitely read the instructions for installation. Okay, let's get right down to it. This is, as you can see right here. In fact, let's just blow that up a little tiny bit. These are my mostest, favoritist setups for the week. I'm pretty sure that's accurate English, proper English, one of the two. And we're going to talk about these right here. So let's get right down to the nitty-gritty. Number one, let me just say this real quick. You can see there's 5 setups. 4 of them are kind of our medium term, 100 plus pip profit target type setups. The last one is just a little guy, maybe a 40 to 50 pipper. Let me just preface all this real quick by saying I actually love the euro dollar and pound dollar setups right now, but because of the impending votes and the risk and all the craziness that's happening there, we're going to probably sit on the sidelines with those two pairs this week until later in the week. So I'm looking at them, I like them, I'm interested in them, but it might be a little bit before we get to those. So yeah, that's potential. That's good advice, Adrian. Yeah, going into some of these big announcements, like the FOMC press conference and the Scottish vote with some of these trades could be super risky. Okay, let's get down to the first setup that I really like right here. Number one, the dollar CAD, buying the dip for a continuation of the daily head and shoulders pattern. We've talked about this one a whole bunch. You can see, now here's my indicator up in the upper left-hand corner, right-hand corner. You can see it on all these pairs. I've put it on everything. Such a great tool. I don't need to look at a bunch of charts and a bunch of things to see what has setups. Again, because of the vote, I'm kind of staying away from the pound dollar, but I can look at this and I can say, all right, the 1 hour chart, which I'm currently on, is way beyond its average, and we know that the 4 hour chart, because it has an arrow there as well, is also beyond its average. So I know that 1 and 4 hour charts on this one right here, without even really potentially looking, if I were on the 5 minute chart, for example, I could still see arrows on that 1 and 4 hour chart that would tell me maybe I won't be. I have kind of a lot of things running on this, and now it's not wanting to switch over. But anyway, any time frame I'm on, I can go and look at the look at the top right here and see that there's arrows on those two time frames, and that just immediately tells me that I've got some very, very nice trades in the works. And yeah, exactly. If we have arrows on all time frames, then at that point it's just a no-brainer. You put a trade on and just forget about it. You're making money. So anyways, euro dollar, pound dollar I like, but we just have to wait just a tiny little bit on those guys. Okay, so I can look at this dollar CAD and see that there's no arrows, nothing is anywhere near extended, and well, not true. The 1 hour chart's getting close. It's 134 with an average of about 148, so it's getting to that point of getting slightly overbought. But there's nothing anywhere else. The dollar CAD is just kind of running around here. But I am very, very much interested in continuing to play out this head and shoulders pattern on dollar CAD, and I think that it's, well, I don't think, I'm just about as confident with this as I am with anything, that this is just going to be a super excellent trade, and it looks like we're probably going to get a nice second chance to get back into this thing. So here's our inverted head and shoulders pattern. It's running up. Neckline, kind of in this general area here, struggling at that 110, but now it's made a big move above 110 and it's pulling back just a little bit and kind of doing some of that stuff. I definitely want to buy this dollar CAD on a pullback. It's made a big movement here, but it's kind of also making a little bit of a bull flag, so we'll see how much retracement we get out of this dollar CAD. But I like this. If we can get back to a little bit closer to 110, then I'm super excited to jump back into this trade. And we're not that far off, and we don't need to get all the way to 110. But I'd like to see it pull back a little bit. Get another probably 30 plus pips lower, get down below 110.20, and then just start buying this thing up into 11200. We're going to get there. It's going to make it. We just have to get an entry and go for it. So dollar CAD is going to be a great opportunity. We will be entering that one again this week and making some pips on that movement. So 110 would be ideal to buy that dip and just let this thing ride and ride and ride some more. So that is dollar CAD. That's what I'm looking at there. Dollar Swiss franc, these are kind of in no particular order. Dollar Swiss franc is great. Obviously we have volatility and craziness with euro dollar, and that will definitely trickle over to dollar Swiss franc, which we have to be definitely aware of. But I do like this pair, and I do think that there's going to be some nice setups. Okay, so my dollar Swiss, where in the world is my dollar Swiss franc? It's down here. I might have been looking at it on my other chart, but let's go to that. So dollar Swiss franc is is just a fantastic little setup here. It's got, you know, the same thing as euro dollar. 1 and 4 hour charts are getting a little bit overextended. You can see the 1 hour charts, 302 bars out of about 134 bar average. So that's pretty. You can extend this a little bit. You can see that it's just kind of continuing to trickle on up there and make some of those movements. So that's looking great. 4 hour chart also looking pretty good. It's not super overextended, but it's definitely getting there in comparison to what we kind of typically see here. So we're going to keep an eye on this dollar Swiss franc, and we're going to look for some entries, probably like some simple trendline breakout type stuff, and just see if we can get into this at a little bit of a higher price. Obviously, it doesn't give us a ton of profit target potential getting in this general area. We might have 50 or so pips. So I want to get it a little bit higher, but I do want to trade it down to this weekly pivot area right here, which gives us a little bit of a better profit target if we were to get in at a breakout. Only about 75 pips or so, but I think we can get one more push higher and get more like 125 to 150 pip move down on this dollar Swiss franc. But we have to keep in mind all of the political news hitting right now is pretty heavy stuff, and so that's kind of one thing that we have to keep in mind, especially with pairs like Swiss franc and yen and so on. So Swiss franc should be will probably be affected quite a bit by some of the coming news. Mel, I will talk about the probability and all those details definitely in that coming webinar where we talk more about the indicator, because there's kind of a lot to say about all of that. But very good question, and we will 100% cover that. Okay, so dollar Swiss franc, we're looking for a breakout. We're looking for an opportunity to trade this pair down, and I'm liking that one. And remember, we do have FOMC news this week, so we're going to be looking to get into some of these trades and you know, manage them with the coming news and so on. I like the dollar yen quite a bit. So shorting the breaks of support down to missed pivots, 200 moving averages, and that's kind of what I'm looking at on the dollar yen. So you can see the dollar yen, once again, I can just quickly look at my indicator right here, which saves so much time. So great for that. We know that the 1 and 4 hour charts are at least greater than the average numbers of bars they move away from the 200 moving average. We don't know exactly by how much without looking at the individual chart, but we do in this 1 hour chart see that we're 300 bars away and we have an average of about 138. So dollar yen's made a pretty big move. 4 hour chart is about 163 with an average of 93 bars. So pretty good looking setup right there. What I like on this dollar yen is the fact that we have, I mean, there's a ton of missed pivots down here. As of recent, not quite as many, but there's just massive missed pivots. If we go back to some of, before some of that consolidation, yen pairs have just left so many missed pivots. I'm not looking for a huge move down. Our first major missed weekly pivot, this is our current weekly pivot, which is right down here at about 106.50 area. So there's not a whole bunch of pips if we break this little consolidation to get down into that. But our next major missed pivot is all the way down here from, well, I guess it's only a couple weeks ago, and that's like a 300 pip move. And I don't think we're going to get immediately back to that, but we're going to make our way down there at least to some degree. So I'm kind of watching this level at the moment, which is about 10700. Below 10700, I'm starting to get pretty interested in shorting dollar yen down to, down to at least the current weekly pivot, which is around 106.50, but beyond would be great. Down into like 10600, I think is a pretty realistic possibility. We have a missed daily pivot at 105.75. That's probably a little further than I think the dollar yen might go. But in the worst case scenario, we can probably get 50 pips out of this, and in a better case scenario, we can probably get 150 pips out of shorting dollar yen. So again, below 10700, I'm a dollar yen short fan, and I think it'll be a great trade, and I think we'll have some nice opportunities to get in and work with some of that. Okay, that's dollar yen. New Zealand dollar, buying the dips and trading it back up to the missed pivot. I like that a whole bunch. Here's our New Zealand dollar. We can see that both 1 and 4 hour charts right there have overextended setups. The current 1 hour chart is not super overextended. It's a little bit, but it's not a lot. 153 with about 138 average. The 4 hour chart, however, is 236 with about 100 bar average there. So this one's looking pretty excellent for some sort of recovery and move back into that higher area. So with this New Zealand dollar right here, I'm basically here's a couple of things that I'm looking at. First of all, this daily chart, and I think even the weekly. No, that was actually the pound dollar. Daily chart on New Zealand dollar has run down and left a very nice inverted or reversal candle down here, kind of a gnarly looking hammer. And so it's showing us definitely some good price rejection and a good ability to bounce off that low. So I'm really liking that. What I would like to do on New Zealand dollar is buy this dip. Get a little bit closer to this low. We're not super far away in the first place, a little over 50 pips. Get a little closer to that. Buy this around like 81, 50, 60 area, and start targeting some of these upper levels here. Just in running to the 200 moving average here on the 1 hour chart, that would give us 75, 80 pip trade. If we get in around that 81, 50, 60 area. But we get some bigger retracements and we get some bigger potential profit targets. One thing I like to look at is I just look at this New Zealand dollar and I say, okay, let's just eyeball the low right here and the high to low of the last little while. And you can see that this thing's it has run 700 pips down with very little retracement, and it's starting to show some nice candles. We are starting to have some very nice setups in the opposite direction. This is a great time to get into the New Zealand dollar. Not for a major move up, but we should be able to get a fairly easy 100 pips up. Okay, so a couple of things real quick. Eric, interesting. Darker the arrow color on the indicator, the further it has moved. Anyone interested? Read the manual and use your data. Okay, so that's all in there. Yeah, and that's good. So we have these different color arrows to kind of remind us that maybe some of these time frames are further extended than others, which is also great. Donovan, fib play on New Zealand dollar. You're referring to New Zealand dollar move? If that's what you're looking at, I agree. A nice little fib situation would be excellent. You can see that we have a 23% fib up here, about 82.90, so a little over 100 pips from current market price. If we cross that 83.90 area, which is also some pretty significant resistance, is our 38% fib. That could be a very nice target to aim for on some pullback. We could have a really nice run up into that. So remember, markets need to correct. They need to, not run straight up or straight down forever. So this could be a very nice little setup, which is why it is on our list. So just a reminder, we're looking to short the break on dollar yen. We're looking to buy the dip. Go ahead and reverse that. We're looking to buy the dip on New Zealand dollar and trade up towards that moving average. And then here's our just little short-term setup right here. This is Aussie New Zealand. And this, I have no expectations for anything major on this other than a couple of quick pips. Aussie New Zealand is right here, and it's just, you can see we have one arrow, and it's on the 15-minute chart. We have nothing on the 1 hour, 4 hour daily. In fact, I think some of those are even just right on top. Oh, actually, they're getting there. Some of them are getting there. But the 15-minute chart is a great little setup because of a couple of things. Number one, 242 bar extension on the 15-minute chart, which is pretty good. I'll take that. Number one. Number two, we have a nice little gap that still needs to be filled. It's got about 15 pips of fill left to it. And so trading a break of this trend line is going to be a very nice little entry, very potentially up into the missed daily pivot point up here, which is about a 45 pip profit target. So again, it's not a major mover of a situation, but I think there's some good pips to be had on buying the breakout of this New Zealand, Aussie New Zealand on the short-term charts for a move up into that. So that's a quick little everything in a nutshell. We have dollar CAD that we want to buy the dip, dollar Swiss franc we want to sell the rallies, dollar yen we want to short the break of support, New Zealand dollar we want to buy the dips, Aussie New Zealand we just want to buy the short little breakout, grab a couple of pips on the way up. as they say, grab a handful of popcorn shrimp and blow on out of the party there. So that's what we're looking for. That's what I think will be interesting this week. We do have excellent setups on euro dollar and pound dollar, and I'm going to have more coming about those as the week goes on for group members. So there's a lot of things to talk about there, but I just kind of wanted to get into the immediate setups that I'm loving the most right now. So there you have it. Let's get some questions and comments about any of this stuff we've talked about so far.